Yes, we are here. Fat Fish Podcast. I am Brad Grunny Grunbergs, aka Snacks, and that is Eric the Fish Schneider. And today's guest, oh, you're going to love this guy. NFL actor, trainer, all around nice guy. Pete Koch. Thanks, buddy, for being on the show. Yeah.
Hey, Grunny Fish, glad to be here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'll start it off, Brad. I looked back at your resume, and you're the first round draft pick in '84 of the Cincinnati Bengals. But I said, oh my God, he played at Maryland. You played under Bobby Ross, a guy that's there's a little polarizing figure in NFL because there was a lot of stuff between him supposedly and Barry Sanders. But talk about your experience playing for Bobby Ross in college.
I was very fortunate when I was a young athlete and I was offered a scholarship, played football at University of Maryland. There was a different head coach there at the time named Jerry Claiborne, and he died many years ago. He was older at that time, and I was excited to play for him. But he had he came off of the Bear Bryant coaching tree, and he was that's the real old school, very stern, all discipline, all whip, no carrot. Style of coaching. And it was very demanding, which I didn't mind. I don't think anybody really minded that. It's a demanding game, but there wasn't any break from it. And after 2 years, he was actually offered a job, the head coaching job at the University of Kentucky, which is where he went to school and played football and started coaching. So he took that and he went back. He wanted to complete the circle at the end of his career. And we all felt lost for a minute, but then in just a couple of weeks, they said the athletic director said we hired Bobby Ross to be the new coach. We said, "Who's that?" And where Bobby Ross had come from, he had been an assistant coach and worked his way through colleges. But then at that moment that they hired him, he was coaching running backs with the Kansas City Chiefs when Marv Levy was the head coach.
Wow!
So he took this pro style offense that was very successful in the NFL, and he implemented it into what we were doing, and it worked beautifully in large part because our quarterback was Boomer Esiason.
Wow. Oh, yeah, a real flunky. Oh,
yeah.
Let me ask you, what position did you play, and how many
defensive end?
Defensive end. Wow, that's great. And how many teams did you play for while you were in the NFL?
I played for 3. It's a funny thing when the NFL draft is really, to go through it, it's the strangest thing. It's you leading up to, I was projected to be a first round draft pick, so I met with a bunch of teams sort of privately that wanted to get to know me. And like the Rams flew me out when their practice facility was in Anaheim back then. That was like, and that was like the Vince Ferragamo years. And I also talked with the Jets and some other teams. And the Bengals had the first pick in the first round. And I was definitely not going to be picked first overall. So I really had no conversation with that organization. The day before the draft, the Bengals traded down. I think it was the New England Patriots traded. They got the number 1 pick, and they took Irving Fryer, a receiver out of Nebraska, and the Bengals ended up with 3 first-round picks. And all of a sudden, at the pick number 16, they picked me, which was a total surprise. And truth be told, it wasn't a very good fit. And I ended up getting cut in training camp the second year, but I knew I had a place in the NFL. I just wasn't there. So that was like a blessing in disguise. And I was claimed on waivers by the Kansas City Chiefs. And I was there the next 4 years. And I got my career going. I was starting defensive end, went to the playoffs. And things went well until I got hurt a couple times. And I had 3 surgeries, my wrist, my knee. And I was released. And again, the silver lining was I was claimed by and signed by Al Davis, and next thing you know, I'm playing for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Wow.
And I played 1 season there. That was it. I mean, I was really falling apart rapidly at that point. But Al Davis said to me, I negotiated my own contract with him. He said, Pete, I know you haven't played. I missed a whole season due to these surgeries. But I want to know if you have something left in you. What we're looking for here is can you back up Howie Long? Can you give him a spell? And the other guys, and because we love the guys that we've got, but we think one more piece like you would just make us all better at the defensive line position. I said, Coach, you can count on me. I can do that. Went into training camp, made the team, and it really changed my life because the Raiders is such a special organization, and I still have relationships to this day. In fact, our mutual friend Stu Samuels is very close with the one of the all-time Raider greats, Rod Martin, the linebacker, and who's a wonderful guy. And Stu knows a lot of these folks. We have a lot of mutual friends, and I'm just honored to be a part of my little contribution to the Raiders when they were the Los Angeles Raiders. Mark Sal and Howie Long, just a great group of guys, and they have a very, very as an organization, the Raiders have the most committed alumni group. They really look after the former players. Doesn't matter if you played one season or 17. They treat everybody the same. And I've gotten to know some of the most outstanding men in my life. Jim Plunkett, I ran into. I was in Vegas a couple of months ago doing a little function with the Raiders, and there was Jim Plunkett, and to get to know him, it's really quite special.
Yeah. Well, look at this. I found this. Look at that.
Wow.
Can't read it.
Yeah.
Read that for us, Brad.
Yeah.
Let Pete do it.
Yeah. Can you be disruptive? Yes, I can. Yes, I can, Mr. Davis. And that I can't. That's a long time ago. I posted that. That's a memory because, but truth be told, it really, the conversation was that. This was before they signed me. I'm sitting in his office in El Segundo at the Raiders headquarters at that time, and he says, "Look, here's how I feel about defensive linemen: is regardless of whether it's a pass play or run play, what I need from these defensive linemen is just to be disruptive all the time." And I said, I know exactly what you mean by that. And I'm your guy for that. I've got the motor for that. I've got the energy and the desire and the will to deliver that. And I just took that. I had never heard it phrased quite that way before, but I took that disruptive attitude and I put that front and center when I went into training camp. And it was a hell of a lot of good, defensive linemen in that training camp that were looking for that, that role to back up Howie. The starting guys were Bob Golick. The Raiders had traded for Bob Golick he had a long career with the Cleveland Browns, and they traded for him because they thought he would improve improve our station defensively at nose guard. And they had a group of guys that were really coached up and really playing hard. So it was an honor to be a part of that defense. Really, Matt Millen was on that team. They were loaded.
Oakland's kind of like USC, graduating USC. They take care of their own. That's what I love, right? And if you need a job or if you need advice, they're there for you. And that's the same thing. I went to Arizona, but still, USC is a very special school for that.
Once a Raider, always a Raider.
Yeah.
And the one thing that pisses off the Chief fans the most, Pete, is when the Chief goes to the Raiders. There you go.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, every alumni gets one of these.
I love
it. And there's a plaque at Allegiant Stadium with Pete's name on it because he played with the Raiders. There's somewhere in that stadium there's Pete Koch in there. And like I said, every Chiefs fan pissed off when one of theirs goes to the Raiders, and and then 5 years later, Rich Gannon. Talk about you're a piece of history in that 1989 team, because Art Shell became the first African-American black head coach. And that had to be great to go through that and watch. And you guys were set. You guys started out with Mike Shanahan, not great, but you finished with the winning record with Art Shell. That had to be fun.
Yeah, that was fun. And when Art got his, it's behind me somewhere. When he got his first win, everybody on the team got a game ball, which I thought was really cool. And the the Raiders were expected to be very competitive that season, 1989, and we came out of the gate. I mean, when we talk about stumbling out of the gate, we lost the first 3 of our 4 games, and we walked into the practice facility on a Monday morning after another loss, and there was no head coach in the building. Shanahan was not there, and quickly the buzz was, what in the world is going on? And then in front of everybody, the team meeting, Al Davis walked out and says, "We're making a change." And we just can't, the way things have been going with Mike Shanahan, it's not what it's not up to the standard here. So we're going to go back to the old ways. We're going to hire from within, and we're going to make sure that person represents the silver and black. And there's nobody better than a guy that's in Hall of Fame representing the silver and black, and that's Art Shell. And so he went from assistant offensive line coach all the way to head coach. And the next thing we're off and running.
Great. Well, when Al Davis says to you, can you really back up Howie Long? How about you guys going clubbing in Los Angeles? I don't know if Alzato's was still there on La Cienega, but my God, you good-looking guy, Howie, and then all you guys got into acting. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you guys must have tore up the LA scene.
Come on, well, I don't know about what we tore up, but I know Howie wasn't a part of it. Howie was, and I think it's part of why he had such enormous success. He was, Howie married his college sweetheart. So by the time he was his second year in the league, he was married, and shortly after that, he was having children. So he would go to practice and go home and practice home. And very early on, he was kind enough to invite me. He says, "You want to come up in my house? My wife's pretty good cook, and meet the family." And I said, "Yeah." And because I was just single, and although I was familiar with LA, I was new to the team, and went up there and saw his home and met his family, and it was very thoughtful. I mean, there's not a whole lot of that warm and fuzzy all the time in the NFL, but Howie was really grounded. As far as us single guys, banging around town, yeah, it was fun. It was most of the time we ended up, I guess in Manhattan Beach, which is pretty close to where the practice facility is, which is not bad.
Did you ever make it to the Playboy Mansion, Pete? Come on now.
I did. No, I never did.
What?
I never did. I guess I missed out on that. But I know that
the jacuzzi with a couple of girls. All right, I heard different. Okay,
I didn't make it.
Let me ask you, Pete. In football and acting, there were always groupies and creepy people like Fish. Now, let me ask you. He knows everything about you and everything. Do you ever have to get a restraining order against guys like Fish? You must have had some groupies. Back
well. No is the answer, but I will tell you that there's creepy out there, and I'll give you an example. I had a teammate, very close friend and teammate in Kansas City, and there was somebody telling everybody that he was his brother. So the players Art, it's not a secret, it's Art Still. Art Still is a 5-time Pro Bowl defensive end, right up there with Howie Long in terms of talent. I think Art Still probably should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of those guys right on the line there, and just a fantastic defensive end and a great talent. And he was a guy married with kids, but there was somebody going around and doing very, very bold things like public speaking and claiming that he's Art Still's brother.
He
wasn't.
Those guys. Okay.
He wasn't. Yeah, and it was weird. And he was coming to the stadium and then playing this game. And so within the NFL, there's a security division. So he reached out to the NFL in New York City and told them what was going on. They assigned, I think, the FBI to investigate and shut this guy down. There's more detail to it. The guy was really doing some some terrible things. And but there is and the NFL takes that very seriously, and there is a mechanism within the NFL to look out for players that way, and it's very important.
It reminds me of a story that happened to me. I go around Vegas saying that I'm Eric Fish Schneider's brother, and they take me out back. They beat the shit out of me, and then they leave me there. And then I get up, and then I go to the next place and say, "Hi, I'm Brad Schneider," and then they kick me out of shit. They kick the shit.
You know why he does that, Pete? Because he wants a free meal. That's the way.
Exactly. That's why I want free food. I go, come on right now.
I'm dealing with two actors right now. One's a comedian, and Brad, that's an actor that's been in 120 things. Pete had the absolute graciousness to work with Clint Eastwood in the movie Heartbreak Ridge. Talk about that. Is that one of your greatest accomplishments in acting, working with Clint Eastwood, or do you have any other things you did acting wise you're more proud of?
Pete, before you answer that question, how did you make the transition to acting after you left the NFL? And how did you know in the NFL it's my time to move on? How did you know?
Yeah, well, Grunny, I actually started acting when I was still playing. I was in Kansas City, and I would spend the off season in Los Angeles. And how that happened was, I'm from Long Island, New York. And when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, I worked out at a bodybuilding gym. My high school didn't have much of a weight room facility at all. And I knew I was going to play, football in college. I was certainly hoping I would. And I really wanted to develop my body. And I was very thin, and I was a skinny kid lifting weights in the basement, reading the bodybuilding magazines. And I actually took my allowance and bought a membership to, it's called Rab's Gym in Limbrook, Long Island. And it was hardcore bodybuilding gym. And when I was there, I became friends with a guy about 9 years older than me, like a big brother kind of a figure, pretty, not as big as me, but pretty big, strong guy. And we became friends. His name's Perry. And he said to me, we really became close. He was a good big brother. He had supported me like sort of in every way as a friend and a workout partner at times. And he said to me, and he made his money. He owned a small business, an ice cream shop. But he goes, I'm an actor. I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. I'm in Actors Equity. I've done off Broadway. I've done union television, 2 union television commercials. He was very proud of that. And he goes, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And fast forward, I go through college, and at the same time, about 4 years later, his marriage is falling apart. Something happened with his business. I never really got the word. And he goes, this is a sign. I'm moving to LA. I'm done with New York. I need more, and I'm gone. And he goes, and I had just finished my first season with the Bengals. And he says, what are you going to do with yourself? You're not going to hang around. And I said, I don't want to live in Cincinnati. I'm single. And he goes, come on out here, hang out with me. And he lived in Reseda, had an apartment in Reseda. And I moved out, and I got an apartment for 4 months. And he said, you can do this. He showed me the sides. He took me to acting class. He said, and he says, come with me, tag along on an audition. And I watched the process. I sat in the waiting room. I saw everybody sitting there with their sides, and I was learning, and I was watching him. And I found an agent, and I enrolled in an acting class, and I started going out. I didn't have anything on my resume, and Perry would act as my de facto, trading lines with, and I was up and going.
That's great. That is really great, because you had a little something to fall back on, and you never knew it while you were in the NFL. So tell us about working with Clint Eastwood. Wow. Oh my gosh. How did that?
No, it was just such a break, such an opportunity. So my agent says, and actors like would understand this. And he says, listen, you got this audition. It's for film, and it's on the Warner Brothers lot. They're, for some reason, I don't know, they're being very quiet about this. They're not saying who's starring in the movie or who's directing the movie. Just here's the sides, and here's the appointment time, and go over there. And I drive over there, and I'm walking up to the address. You know, you got your little map, because this is the first time I've been on the Warner Brothers lot, and I'm walking, and I see men walking towards me. I'm like, so I'm at that time I'm 6'6", 285, and they're like my size and bigger. There's a guy 7 feet tall, and some guys not as tall but wide. And I'm like, and then I walk in the room, and it's full of these guys, and everyone's reading for this same role. I can see it. They've all got the same Swede sides. And I'm like, all right. So I went in the room when it was my turn and did my thing, and they put that on tape, and went home. And a week later, my agent says, man, you got a call back on that thing. And I go over there, and more, you know, big guys, not quite as many this time on the callback. And again, they taped it again. They didn't tape it the first time. They taped it the second time. And they said, our director's going to, you know, make the final choice. We're just putting you on tape here. And I did my thing. And a few days after that, I got a call. I was cast, and my agent goes, you are so lucky. You won't believe this. That's a Clint Eastwood movie. I said, whoa, you're kidding me. And off I went. And I was so lucky, because I wouldn't start filming for 2 weeks. My character doesn't come. It wasn't shot sequentially, but a little bit. And I don't come in until an hour into the movie. And then I work for my character worked for 5 weeks. And I had training camp. And my agent says, oh boy, we got a problem, because casting just said they need you all the way through August, whatever it was. And I had a hard out because of training camp. And my agent goes, oh my God, you might just lose this because of this conflict. And they at their end, Clint Eastwood, who also produced the movie, they agreed to move some scenes around to accommodate me. So I went from the last day of filming down at Camp Pendleton in San Diego, and I drove back to LA the next day, got on a plane, and flew to training camp. So it all happened so fast, but
That's
Clint
exciting.
was absolutely awesome. The day that filming started for me, they had already been shooting 2 or 3 weeks, and it was at Camp Pendleton, like I said. And so they said that somebody calls me, a production assistant, and says, they want you to come down a day before, check into the motel. Here's the address. And then your first scene is the next day. I said, fine. They said, we'd like you to be here by noon. I said, fine. I get in the car, drive down. PA meets me at the motel. He says, check in, put your stuff away. They want me to take you over to the set, which is on Camp Pendleton. So you go like this, and it's security and everything. So we drive, and he goes, it's over there. So there was kind of a hill and then an open field. And then they walked me up there, the PA, and there's Clint Eastwood and some of the actors moving lights, cameras, crew, everything going on. And they're shooting a scene. And they said, just chill here. And maybe 20 or 30 minutes go by, and there's a break in the action. And 100 feet away is Clint, and it is hot as hell. And I'm just standing there like this, watching all this. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And Clint, all of a sudden I realize he's walking, and there's nobody next to me. He's walking right at me. And he puts out his hand and says, hey, Pete, man, welcome. We're so glad to have you. We're glad you're going to help us out. I think we're going to have some fun, and appreciate you. And I was like, wow, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. And I'm going to give you everything I got. And he says, I know you will. It's going to be fun. And I said to myself, and I like to repeat that story at times, because it demonstrates leadership. And when you think of Clint Eastwood, you think of a movie star. To a lesser degree, a little bit, you think of a director. But he's also the guy that pulled all of the strings together and acts as a producer. But he was truly a leader. And it was very interesting to not only see him act, but to see him all the other time directing, and the grace and with which he does it. He's not the iron fist leader. He's a leader from the front. And he says he wants a quiet set. He wants creative people to be able to be creative. and he asked everybody to just keep it down. And he hires the same crew over and over, so everybody knew the drill and everybody was highly respectful of that. And he doesn't make it more complicated. He makes the process of making a film, which is very complicated, but he makes it, I think, and he has a very practical approach to it. 1 or 2 takes, let's move on. And it was just a joy.
Clint Eastwood, Brad. Well, I think what Pete's saying is Clint Eastwood would transition into a very good head coach in the NFL, right, Pete?
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. There's no question in my mind he's highly organized. I remember talking to I became pretty close with the first assistant director on that film. And they have a particularly important role on a Clint Eastwood film because I wondered how this was going to work. So when Clint's in the scene, and Clint's not one to say, action, cut. I mean, I don't think I ever heard him say that. He's more apt to say begin whenever you're ready, and that's enough. Thank you. And then, it's over. So, but who does that when Clint's in front of the camera? And the answer is the first assistant director, who better know what they're doing. And it just adds it sounds so simple, but there's something to it. And I was talking to him about, like, what's Clint's schedule like? And he goes, he doesn't stop because he's looking at the dailies. There's problems on the set. We were shooting in Puerto Rico that was doubling as Grenada. And one of the, giant, in the old days, right, these gigantic Panavision cameras, they're massive and expensive. And we're over here, like, in this kind of remote area shooting, and it broke. And so it wasn't like there's another one right there. It was like on the other side of the island. And so we had to shut it down for like a couple hours. And we were in a school room, and it must have been 100 extras. It was very hot. It was the middle of the day. And then Clint says, he spoke to everybody himself. He says, everybody listen up. We got to chill for like an hour and a half because our camera broke. Please, everybody, just bear with us here. Well, there was a piano in the room. It was a school, and just an upright piano. And a few minutes later, all of a sudden I'm hearing, and there's Clint playing the piano quietly. And everybody, 100 people, including children and all these extras, young people, and everyone's just kind of leaning in. And then he's serenading everybody, doesn't say a word, and just played for probably an hour.
He's a true legend. He is a true legend. I want to go back. How did you know your time as an NFL player was over? When did you say, was it injury? Was it like, I'm ready to move on, close this chapter and move on to a new chapter?
Yeah, I was beat down. I was actually released partway through the season with the Raiders, and I wasn't surprised because they were kind of between a couple of, backup defensive linemen. And, so when you're not starting and you've had a bunch of injuries, some other, bits of the calculus come into play. For example, if this other guy was 4 years younger than me, made a lot less money, and the money was small back then, but even it's all relative. He just made less money. And he probably had a higher ceiling, although he didn't play very long. But they decided to replace me with, save a little bit money on that end, I guess. And I think they saw me breaking down, and I was truly struggling. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling to know that I was playing the game at one level, and I just couldn't quite keep it there. After I came back from these surgeries, I just wasn't the same. So I think the from the medical and fitness and strength training, and I think all that stuff I know it's much better today. I think I might have had a better chance today, but it's I had to slow myself down. It took a few years to really get it where I was comfortable with saying, like, the average career expectancy, career length is in the NFL is 3.2 years. I played 6, and to just go, I got to be good with that. And yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Me and Fish have talked about this. Fish, remember we talked about when is it time? Tommy Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys, there has to be a time. Like, I didn't like to see Muhammad Ali being pummeled by Larry Holmes in the corner at Caesar's Palace, the greatest of all time. Sugar Ray Leonard being popped right on his ass. I mean, everybody has an end. And you got to realize that. And then you leave it for the next guy, right? And look at you, Pete. You went on to be an actor, and you're a great actor. I've seen some of your stuff. And by the way, we're going to do something. Fish told me that he always wanted to be an actor. So I want to write I'm a writer too. I want to write a scene about a bartender with a big mouth, okay? And then you walk in, he pisses you off because he can't make you drink, because Fish is not a really great bartender. And then you take him, pull him out from the bar and kick the living crap out of him in front of everybody. And then you become the bartender. How do you like the scene?
And then you put a hat on the end. Yeah, become the bartender. Yeah.
And then I get it.
Write it, and you
then I get a chance.
Camera.
Then I get a chance to sue the bar and make more money than all you guys. So, Pete, that's funny. Talk about, your body breaks down. You knew it was time. And then you get into this business after acting. And by the way, are you still acting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sadly, we're kind of in the middle of a messy strike that's really the Writers Guild, but we're all kind of sucked into that right now. So yeah, but I'm still at it for sure.
Well, let me show you a picture of Pete. This is Pete. Pete Koch has got to be what? You got to be about 60, 61 years old. How old is he?
61.
Check that out. Yeah. I used to have a body like that,
nothing. Brad. Well, that's not. I'm better looking. I'm in better shape than that guy.
Okay, look at this. This is Pete Koch, because this is what he does. He trains. His body breaks down, but then he decides to get later in life to fix people's bodies. All right, check this out. I love that.
That's great, man. Great.
And length, quality of life, Pete Koch. I mean, that's fantastic. So, Pete, I want to talk to you about your passion for training people about taking care of their bodies, because Brad's famous line, when I first met Brad 30 years ago, he always said, your health is your wealth, and you're keeping people healthy. Talk about that.
I've always been interested since I was the skinny kid, and I wanted to, learn how to build muscles, and I wanted to be not because I wanted to pose on stage bodybuilder, but because I wanted to be a better football player, a better baseball player, which I loved playing baseball when I was younger also. And I knew somehow or another, and part of it was the mentoring. I had a terrific high school head coach, football team, that he had played his college ball at Kansas State, and he was strong and muscular and lifted weights. And I'm talking about the late 70s, and I graduated high school in 80. So I'm talking about, I started building my body through weight training in 1977, eventually joined a bodybuilding gym to go to the next level. And then I was fortunate enough to get an athletic scholarship and went to the University of Maryland, where the strength and conditioning coach, a gentleman named Frank Costello, was a top guy. And he was, previous to being the strength coach for the football team, he was the head track and field coach. And what was he doing there? He was coaching some of the fastest athletes in the United States. They had a great track team at that time. He was a high jumper himself when he was younger, and a very good one. And he said, this weight training doesn't just make you muscular. That's okay. That's a byproduct of it. But what it does, it makes you faster and more explosive, and ultimately a better football player who can be disruptive. And I was all in on that. And I really committed and bought in, because I was like, wow, here's some real information. I wasn't just reading, the Dave Draper or Frank Zane's workout in a bodybuilding magazine. I had a real coach, and I spent more time picking his brain, sitting in his office. We got along great. And I was like, how is it that if I can get stronger in the squat, that I can run faster. I mean, how does that work? And he started to talk about developing muscle fibers in your central nervous system, and there's an activation there, and you have these fast twitch motor fibers and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So later on, I said, when I was done with football and I was acting, but I need something else to do. And I had such a passion and interest in it. And I said, and I started networking with some of my personal trainer friends. And I go, how do I get in? Like, how do I get like a credential or something? And I got certified. That was the beginning. Tons of education. I was going back to school. I have many, many certifications, certified strength and conditioning coach. And I was learning the anatomy, the physiology that I needed to know to really understand what I was doing. I was very interested in it, but here was a formal, we got to study a book this thick and pass a test. And then I said, I want to start working with people. And I've heard the question many times, like, do you work with elite athletes? And I'm like, actually, no, I don't want to. I want to work with the general population because that's where the need is. I can reach a lot more people and help a lot more people. That 80% of the adult population of the United States is overweight. We need help. 42% are clinically obese, and that's way too much. That's the highest of any first world country. We're number one. We don't want to be number one when it comes to that, but there's a disconnect there between a country that's as wealthy as the United States and people that are not paying attention to their weight and their health, and those things are closely connected. So fitness and nutrition is extremely powerful. In fact, it might be more powerful than any medicine. If you can get your arms around fitness and nutrition, and if you're really not sure the moves to make, then get a coach. And that's where I come in and help people.
That's, my nephew, Dylan Holvey Fitness, got to give him a plug. He's also a trainer, and you guys are amazing. You touch lives every day with people that can't help themselves. And it's just a wonderful attribute that you guys have. And it's a great business, on our show, we ask our guests something that is kind of important, I think. What would you tell your younger self now that you are 61? You've had an amazing NFL career. You're an actor. By the way, we're going to work together, buddy. You are the quintessential bad guy, man. In life, you're an intimidating guy. Do people like in bars, like come up to you? Do they, mouth off? They think they can take you. Has that happened in your life?
Not lately.
No, but it has, right? I mean, all these people, and all these people that think they can take a big guy. But what would you tell your younger self today about your life?
I think I was a little bit too critical of myself. I don't think they say, I didn't learn this until I was older, but what do they say? Perfection is the enemy of good, because you never get going because you're trying to do it perfect. And I think there's some areas of my life where that served me, probably served me pretty well in terms of my work ethic when it came to, being a professional athlete. But I think in other areas, I was always kind of waiting for just the right moment for this or that. And I remember one time there was an investment opportunity. I put some money into something. It didn't go right. It didn't go well. And I said to myself, I just remember thinking, I'm never going to take a risk again on something like this. I'm never going to do that again. Well, what I was too young to know. I just didn't have the wisdom, is when I said, well, I'm never going to take that risk again. That was a risk. And so you just get locked, right? And you can apply that to your personal life and everything. I never want to get burned like that again. Okay. But understand there's a price for that too. So,
like missing out on opportunities that you probably would have done and you should have done, but because you had that bad experience. Sure. Kind of like me being on this show. Anyway, this is, oh God, you're a great guy, man. You're a great. I mean, Fish told me about you long ago. We got to get Pete on the show, and this is great.
I follow Pete on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden Stuart goes, I talk to Stuart all the time. He goes, I can get him on your show, but look, you're talking to the one guy, Pete. I've missed 2 Raider games in 42 years. So I saw you play, and I'm one, and of course they moved in my backyard in Las Vegas, so I'm in Hog's heaven. So if the average guy or gal wants to get in touch with Pete Koch and hire you, where do we go? Tell our audience and listeners, our viewers and listeners, where do you find Pete Koch?
Yeah, it's quite simple. Find your favorite mode of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just hit me with a direct message or PeteKoch.com. And I'm pretty, just hit the button and you can send me an email through the contact on the header. And by the way, it doesn't, I would encourage that and to connect with me. Because even if you don't need a personal trainer right now, I like to connect, and maybe we can offer, you never know where opportunities might come from. So, please, I encourage people to connect with me.
Next time you go on a cleanse, because you both live in Los Angeles, you and Brad should get together.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He'll cleanse himself, and I'll cleanse myself with In-N-Out burgers. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't work. Hey, Pete.
Pete, you're an amazing guy. Pete, by the way, I don't know if you know, but Jenny Craig finally closed their doors, and I was on Jenny Craig for about 3 months, and I lost $2,500. It's not good. It's terrible. Jenny is a con woman. Jesus Christmas. I'm using some of my material, running it by you guys. But we got to get together. Fish, when you come to LA, I think we got to, have a nosh with Pete Koch. What do you think?
We'll get Stu.
We'll get Stu into your life, Brad. He'll know someone you know.
Meet Stu. Yeah.
He probably knows your family.
He probably does. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I'll be getting a restraining order on Stu.
Okay. Hey, Pete, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're an inspiration.
My pleasure.
And hopefully someone out there will see a guy like you and say, you know what, there's always another chance doing something else. And you accomplished your dreams. You said you played 6 years in the NFL. Guys like me would break their arm to play 30 seconds in the NFL, and so would Brad. So thanks for entertaining us. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'd like to have you back on the show again.
My pleasure, Eric and Grunny. I appreciate you both. You guys,
got you going today.
My pleasure.
Koch.com. You need a trainer. Connect with this guy. He's a winner. Thanks again, Pete. We got to give you a nice hand, bud. We love you, man. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Stay safe, okay?
Thanks, Pete.
We'll do.
Thanks, Steve.
Later.
That guy is awesome. Wow.
Oh, wow.
That was great.
He does, man. You were right. He looks like the kind of guy. You want to see a guy 6'6"? I'm bartending. A guy like that walks in your bar, you're thinking of 2 things. Please be nice. Or if something happens, please help me.
Or at Mom's Saloon, he would be a great guy at the door, because when you see him, you're like, oh, I was going to get drunk and get in a fight. No. I'm not getting in any fight. But you know what? He's a teddy bear. You could tell he's a teddy bear.
Yeah. And just like you said, we try to bring positivity out in this show, and you see a guy who hit his dreams. He wanted to act, and now he's got such a thriving business helping people. And the one thing I took out of that, he doesn't want to do the celebrities. He doesn't want to do the big actors and the athletes. I guarantee with his connections, when he says that, he's a strength and conditioning, he could probably get on an NFL team or a college team and make that living helping out. No, he's helping the Brad Grunbergs and the Eric Snyders, and that's an inspiration. And we thank him so much for coming on the show. How you been?
Things are good. Yeah,
you look great. You got a haircut.
I went high and tight. What do you think? It looks good on me. What do you think?
You always look good. You look good.
Military. I went John Candy, Dewey Oxberger from Stripes. You like this?
If they ever do, I know that's your idol. I know
Yeah.
him, Farley. If they ever do a sequel to Stripes, and why can't they do another one?
Right,
You know,
right.
who I know plays Bill Murray. You got to be in for Dewey
I
Oxford.
hope so. Oh, that would be an honor.
Got it. You got to be in.
I mean, you know who Don Rickles, my favorite comedian, John Candy, my favorite actor, comedian, and he's, you know, these are the guys that inspired me. And yeah, I had a great Father's Day. It was really good. I hang out with my dad, my buddy, and my wingman. My dad's going to be 91 July 1. How's that one? Is that great? And he's healthy, and he's my best friend. He's my hero. He really is, and I love him. And yeah, I got to see my family, which was great. And I just wanted to send my condolences on your cousin. I know you've been going through a real tough time, and I love you, man. And you know, Brad, he told me a little bit about him. Very special guy. You know, maybe we can talk a little bit about him. Could you tell us?
You know, we went through a lot. Yeah, you know, you don't. This is the hardest thing I've ever gone through. I lost my parents, my mom, my biological father. I lost, you know, a lot of people. You have too. But when you're with someone and you know them, they're only 5 months apart, and you go to camps together, and you share weddings and kids and everything, and you talk almost every day, it's rough. So, you know, I'm doing my things grief-wise to take care of that. This helps. You know, I have a positive outlook on life, and he would want me to. He's the kind of guy like you. He's like us. He would say, you know what? Stop with the bullshit. You know, you'll see me again, hopefully in 30 years, and that's it. You move on. I want to talk about something. I'm going to jump into your talking about Father's Day. I got to show you a video of how you spend Father's Day, and then I'm going to show you Robert De Niro's a reaction to it, right? Okay. With a guy that's playing you 30 years ago in Goodfellas, and I want you to listen to what he's saying to you, because I don't believe what you did with this ice cream cone with the dog. Hang on.
Hello, everybody. We wanted to say hello. We haven't spoken in a while. Tomorrow's Father's Day. I want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day, as I have my little daughter here, and we're going to have a great day together. And today we're going to do something different. Annie, how about an ice cream cone for Annie? How's that? We share it. That's how much I love you. Annie, another lick? Stay safe, stay happy, stay well. We love you. How do you like that, buddy? How do you like that?
I love it. Well, here's De Niro. Now remember, when you watch, this is a scene from Goodfellas.
Okay.
Johnny roast beef is Brad. Don't think about the thing. Think about the watch.
Oh, fuck, whose name it's on? Are you stupid or what? Did you hear what I said? Don't buy anything, don't get anything, nothing big. Did you hear what I said? What's the matter with you? What do you get excited about? What am I get excited about? Because you're gonna get us all fucking pinched, that's why. What are you, stupid? What's the matter with you?
I apologize.
What's the matter with you?
Sorry.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
I'm sorry.
I
love roast beef. I'm friends with him. He's great.
You let your dog eat your ice cream cone? I know dogs' mouths are.
Yes, I do. My dog is my daughter, and I love her. I kiss her right on the lips. Is there a problem? You have a problem with that?
I do kind of, you know, because I know some of the girls.
Well, what about your dog? You don't kiss your dog? You don't kiss your dog?
I let my dog get my ice cream cone. No. You know,
listen,
I just saw my dog licking his balls the other day. You know what? If you lick your balls,
you licking your balls? We've seen that in the bar.
Well, I'm not licking yours, but when you see your dog licking its, you know what, private parts, and here, try my ice cream cone. That's great. You know what, Brad? This is we talked about fitness. This is not good fitness. Pete Koch would not be happy. I think that's hilarious.
I got to do it, man. Listen, I live my life the way I want to live it. And I'll do it again if I have to and if I want to. So
you are going to do it. I mean, you know, do you sit there? Are you the kind of guy that when you're having a dinner with your family and a potato knish comes, you take a bite and give some to Annie? Is Annie eating off the table?
You tell me. You don't think Annie is getting fed under the table? Yeah, baby. Yeah. No, Annie is my best friend. I love her, and I share with her. We share our meals from time to time.
So's my dog. I do the same thing. But I don't let my dog. I don't take a lick of an ice cream cone. Maybe I'm just a little bit more anal retentive.
Different people. We're different. We're different people with different hairstyles. What is that today? Oh my goodness gracious!
It's a mop. You know what?
No, it's a different form of the bird's nest. I like it. No, I like it today. It's good.
I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like this. It's not a good symmetry. I said the Buddy Holly glasses. I wish I could play the guitar.
No,
I'd do a song.
Those are the best glasses. Are those new? Because are those Costco?
Yeah. They are new.
That's a good look for you.
I got a lot of comments.
Take off your glasses. Take off your glasses.
That's right. Maybe you do look like. I don't think I look like this guy. I think we have to change it. I might have to get. I don't know if I look like that guy anymore.
You don't think? Oh, there he is. Well, yeah. You know.
But you,
yeah.
Marv, no matter what,
yeah,
I am.
Like that's me. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, I want to do a couple of plugs. Hopefully we get something going with some of our projects, but we have a lot of great people to support this show. We need financing. Click on YouTube; it would help us. But someday, this guy, we're going to find something with Johnny Cocktails Entertainment. That is Brad Grunberg's entertainment company. He's involved in a lot of projects. And then
the best bar in Vegas. The best bar in Vegas.
What? I work there.
Best bar in Vegas. Shucks Tavern. The best. Oh, my God.
Brad will be out. Brad and I are going to go see. Brad got us great seats and go see the great Tony Orlando August 4th. Brad's going to be in that restaurant trying our jambalaya and our gumbo. And we're going to time how fast he takes to eat. Matter of fact, it's so good, I would suggest he takes those two dishes and feeds his dog. But we don't allow dogs unless they're service dogs in the restaurant. I'm there Wednesday through Saturday night, Graveyard. Shucks Tavern, Johnny Cocktails Entertainment. Big supporters of the show as far as allowing us to do this.
Will you tell the girls that come to the Shucks Tavern that I'm coming into town? Because I want, I want to visit with a lot of the ladies. I let them know that I am single and ready to mingle. Or no, you can't you don't do that. You wouldn't even do that for me.
I need business. But Brad, you show up. When you don't show up there, our two main vendors, US Foods and Cisco, says what? Brad's out of town. You know. I mean, you show up there, you can bring a date to that place, right? And I guarantee you, Brad's the most generous guy. He walks into Shucks Tavern, he's throwing 20s to everyone. Even a guy who walks in to deliver to Pepsi throws a 22, right? But when he's on a date, I watched him on a date one time. He came in, I want to say it was August of last year. And he comes in, and I'm watching. The girl he's with goes to the bathroom, and she ordered sliders. There's 4 sliders, right? She comes back, and she's a little looped. There's 2 sliders left because he knew she was too looped to realize that be 2 sliders gone, you know. And look, I love you to death. You're great. When it comes to food, buddy, and it comes to your dog, you share the food with your dog, but you treat your food like a newborn baby. I love that.
All right.
Hey,
well, that's what I do.
Before we get out of here, I love what you said to Pete about the longevity of Brady and Rodgers and NFL training camps. Thank God. The rookies go in July 17th. Are you into the Jets like everyone else is? Do you think?
No.
You're not. No. Explain.
I think that I don't think the Jets are going to be that good. I don't think Rodgers. It's over. Rodgers is somewhat of a con man for me. I don't like that. You know, he's sitting in the dark room. He's doing all this stuff. I'm not a bit. He's cocky as hell. He only won 1 Super Bowl. Do you really think that he's going to go to the Jets and win a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. Listen, they have a good team, but I just don't think one good pop on Rodgers, it's done, over, finished. I'm sorry. I don't wish hurt on anybody, but Rodgers, I don't like him. I just don't like him.
I disagree. I'll tell you what, that's part of the podcast business is that I love you to death, but I agree to disagree. One good shot on anyone.
Okay. I want to hear what's your tell me.
Finish. You had a chance. Let me retort.
No, I want to know why. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because the Jets had the 6th best defense last year. They had no quarterback. Zach Wilson was out screwing all his mom's girlfriends. Never went anywhere. And they just didn't have a backup. Mike White was horrible. And that wasn't horrible. And they had it just didn't work out on offense. If Rodgers shows any of the talent he's had the last 14, 15 years, he will take that offense, which has gotten Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard. They still have I forgot the name of the rookie wide receiver they had that won Rookie of the Year, but you got a great defense. Problem I have with that is I don't like the cockiness. I agree. Is that Buffalo and Miami are still very good football teams, and they're in that division. You know, Josh Allen's not going anywhere, Do I think the Jets will be better? Yes. Do I think they're a Super Bowl team? No. But I will tell you this: we'll get more in the NFL as the season approaches. But if I had to say right now, just at the top of my head, the two teams going into training camp that did make the playoffs last year, that will next year, is the Denver Broncos. I think Sean Payton going there. I think Russell Wilson has a bounce back year, Brad. And the Saints. They're in a lousy division. I think Derek Carr and some of their additions in free agency and a good draft could make it into the playoffs. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I will tell you who's going to win the 2025, right? That'll be the 2025 or 2024, of course, because it's going to be in 2025, the Super Bowl. But the 2024 Super Bowl will be the Buffalo Bills. Okay, that's my prediction. You give your prediction, and we'll bet a dinner on it anywhere in Vegas or LA. I say the Buffalo Bills win it all.
I think right now, until someone could stop, and we're saying this on June 21st, and we'll do it now, and we'll go back and archive this. Right now, until you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I've seen. I mean, Brady's the best, but Patrick Mahomes does so many things improvisation-wise and making plays happen that are, you watch him play, it's like watching a magician. It's like watching Jordan in basketball. Until you beat the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs. Do I like your pick of the Bills? Yes.
Yeah, I just think it's over. I think it's their gear, and it's also luck and timing, right? You know, staying healthy, the ball bounces your way, and I think finally, you know, all those Super Bowls that Buffalo could have won, Josh Allen has something to prove. He should have done it last year, and he didn't. And this year's the year. No, because he lost that game.
Give me a straight face with no smile. You know, he look like a little bit right now. He look a little bit like James Gandolfini with the hair. When he had the short hair.
You think so?
That's a compliment. You do in the face.
I'll take that.
You had that same haircut for 2 seasons on The Sopranos. I'm talking to a boss right now. I love it. So, real quick, we got about 2 minutes. You leave us and give us. All our listeners want an update on the writers' strike, and give us a quick capsule of what's going on there.
All right. Well, the directors settle. They always settle. It's amazing. I always wonder if the directors had pictures of the studio heads or something. I don't understand. They always settle. They never authorize a strike. So the directors settled. So hopefully the writers will settle, but we, the actors, we authorize the strike and our contracts up at the end of June. So it's all coming to a head. Hopefully we settle our differences, and then the writers settle their differences, and then we all go back to work. That's my dream. I just want everybody to go back to work. You know,
I know you're a big fan of Mel Brooks, and Mel Brooks saw you as a kid, and he wanted to use part of your body as an inspiration for this scene. We'll leave it on this.
How about some more beans, Mr. Taggart?
I'd say you've had enough. I understand there's a new sheriff in town. Who wants to...
That's great.
That's your first voiceover
96.
or ass over. 1972? Oh, my God.
Oh, what a great scene. Mel Brooks, 96 years old. He's still kicking it and still killing it. Well, another number 15's in the books. We want to thank Mr. Pete Koch. He told some great stories. I'm Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Stacks. That is Eric the Fish Schneider. We'll see you next time on Fat Fish. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Love you.
Love you too, buddy.